Welcome to African Today, the voice of a changing continent. We bring you the stories shaping Africa's present and future, from breaking news and bold analysis to culture, innovation, and voices on the ground. We're here to inform, inspire, and amplify the heartbeat of Africa every single day. Thank you for stopping by the channel. We hope you enjoy our video. Let's begin. Kenya is once again in the throes of widespread unrest as massive anti-government protests grip the nation. Sparked by economic frustration, deep political divisions, and what many see as a betrayal of democratic ideals, demonstrators from all walks of life have taken to the streets in unprecedented numbers. The protests have turned increasingly tense, with reports of clashes between police and protesters, arrests of opposition leaders, and mounting concerns over the government's response to growing public discontent. The roots of the unrest. The current wave of demonstrations is fueled by multiple layers of grievances. At the heart of the unrest is Kenya's rapidly deteriorating economy. Inflation has soared to record highs, with food, fuel, and housing costs spiraling out of reach for the average citizen. Unemployment remains stubbornly high, especially among youth, who make up a significant portion of Kenya's population. Meanwhile, government austerity measures, increased taxation, and controversial public spending decisions have only deepened public anger. President William Ruto's administration, which came into power promising economic revival and transparency, is now accused by critics of pursuing policies that disproportionately burden the poor while protecting the political elite. Many citizens feel betrayed by what they describe as a government that has failed to deliver on its campaign promises. Widespread demonstrations across the country. Protests have spread far beyond the capital, Nairobi, engulfing cities such as Kisumu, Mombasa, Eldoret, and Nakuru. In Nairobi, thousands gathered in Uhuru Park and marched along major highways, waving placards and chanting slogans demanding government accountability and leadership change. The demonstrations have drawn a broad coalition of participants, including opposition parties, student unions, labor groups, civil society organizations, and religious leaders. Kenya's youth, who have been particularly vocal on social media platforms, have played a leading role in mobilizing the masses. Violent confrontations between protesters and police have been reported in several regions. Security forces, equipped with tear gas, water cannons, and rubber bullets, have been deployed to disperse crowds. Human rights groups have accused the police of using excessive force, leading to injuries and several fatalities. Dozens of protesters and opposition figures have been detained in what critics are calling a crackdown on dissent. Political opposition steps up pressure. The opposition, led by veteran politician Raila Odinga and other key figures, has capitalized on the growing discontent. They accuse President Ruto's administration of corruption, poor economic management, and eroding democratic freedoms. Odinga has called for the resignation of top government officials and fresh elections, citing a loss of public trust. We will not sit back while Kenyans suffer. This government has turned its back on the people. If they cannot govern justly, they must step aside, Odinga declared at a recent rally. However, the government has dismissed the protests as politically motivated attempts to destabilize the country. President Ruto, speaking at a press conference, accused opposition leaders of inciting violence and undermining national unity. Economic crisis deepens. The economic backdrop of these protests cannot be ignored. Kenya's national debt has ballooned, and the local currency, the Kenyan shilling, has sharply depreciated against the U.S. dollar. Rising food insecurity and joblessness have left many struggling to survive. In an attempt to stabilize the situation, the government has turned to international lenders such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, securing loans that have come with painful austerity conditions. Critics argue that the government's focus on debt repayment has diverted resources from essential public services, exacerbating the hardships faced by ordinary Kenyans. Small businesses have been shuttered, transportation services halted, and schools closed as the unrest continues to paralyze daily life. The economic losses from the protests are expected to further strain an already fragile economy. The role of social media and the diaspora. Social media has been instrumental in organizing and amplifying the protests. Hashtags like Occupy Parliament, Ruto Must Go, and Kenya protests have trended globally, drawing attention from the Kenyan diaspora and international human rights advocates. Diaspora communities in the United States, the United Kingdom, and South Africa have staged solidarity protests outside Kenyan embassies, demanding global pressure on the Ruto government to respect human rights and engage in genuine dialogue with protesters. International reactions and warnings. The African Union and United Nations have issued cautious statements urging both sides to engage in peaceful dialogue and avoid further escalation. Western nations, including the United States and the United Kingdom, have expressed concern over the use of force against peaceful demonstrators and have called for restraint. International investors, already wary of the volatile situation, have begun pulling out of key sectors, raising fears of further economic fallout. A nation at a crossroads. As Kenya faces one of its most significant political crises in recent years, the path forward remains uncertain. Protest leaders are calling for sustained demonstrations until their demands are met, while the government appears determined to maintain its grip on power. Many fear that without meaningful reforms and an open dialogue between the government and opposition, Kenya could slide into deeper instability. The resilience of the Kenyan people, however, remains evident as they continue to fight for their voices to be heard. The coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether Kenya can resolve its internal divisions peacefully or if it will spiral further into unrest. For now, the streets remain alive with the chants of a people demanding change, justice, and a better future. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to help grow the channel. Until next time, see you soon.